Hello my Beatles friends, welcome back to another video. And as you can see from the title of this video, I am coming back to the press review series of videos. And today we're going to talk about Abbey Road. I know that the last big news in the Beatles history is the Get Back movie released by Peter Jackson and 50th anniversary of Let It Be, but I still think that Let It Be is the last Beatles album and Abbey Road is the one before. So I'm going to talk about Abbey Road album today. I'm going to show you all my pressings that I have in my collection. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 copies. So I'm going to talk about 12 copies. We're going to look at the covers. Then we're going to talk about the labels, the differences, how to identify the first pressing from the second pressing and subsequent pressings, and which are bootlegs, which are original, and so on. And then in the last part of this video I'm going to talk about the sound. I'm not going to go deep into details as usual into the sound. I don't have the equipment. I just have good speakers and I play it loud, and I'm going to share with you my first impression, which one I like the most. First of all, a little information about the album. This is 11th studio album released in Great Britain on 26th of September 1969, recorded from 22nd of February till 20th of August 1969, and the cover was photographed in front of the Abbey Road studios on the zebra crossing on 8th of August. Well, there are only 6 shots made, and the famous thing that Paul McCartney is barefoot, he had a flip-flops and he kicked them off, we all know that. What else can I say? This is the... everybody knew that it's going to be the last album, and the last session when all 4 Beatles were together in a room recording, it was 11th of August. After that, John Lennon didn't appear again in the studio, and the rest of the Beatles finished the album without John. And the last ever meeting of the 4 Beatles together in one room, it happened on 22nd of August 1969. And in early September, John Lennon announced that he's leaving the room, that he's leaving the band, and the rest is history. So technically, John Lennon left the band even before Abbey Road was released. So when last two albums by the Beatles were released, John Lennon was no longer a member of the band, but it was all kept in secret. It was announced by Paul only in the April of 1970. Okay, so this is the short background of the album, and now let's go and see which pressings do I have. This is a British first pressing, which is called Misaligned Apple and without Her Majesty on the label. The same and the same. So I have 3 copies of exactly the same album, which is Misaligned Apple, no Her Majesty on the label, and the matrices are -2-1. So I'm going to be referring to this album as 1. Then we have British second pressing, variation A, which means that it's an anodized apple with Her Majesty on the label, and it's a matrices -2-1. Then we have second pressing from UK, variation B. It's exactly the same as the variation A, but the matrices are -4-3. We're going to discuss that further. This one is the second German pressing. This one is the first unique Czechoslovakian pressing with a unique booklet, which I will show you in GoPro mode. This is late 1970s German picture disc. This one is Japanese Mobile Fidelity issue, considered to be one of the best sounding albums. We're gonna dive into that as well. Then we have 1991 bootleg from Kazakhstan. This one actually is mistakenly considered to be Russian Anthrop pressing, which is not. This is a bootleg from Kazakhstan. And this one actually is the one was released in Russia by Anthrop label. And we're gonna show you the difference, and I'm gonna show you the difference between these two bootlegs. And last but not least, 50th anniversary box set. I'm not going to be talking about the demos, I'm going to be talking about only the original album, which was remixed by Giles Martin from this box. Okay, so let's go back now to the GoPro mode and talk about the pressings. Welcome back to GoPro mode, and first of all we are looking at the first pressing, variation A of the Abbey Road cover. How do we identify that we actually do have the first pressing? First of all, we see here that the water drain is barely visible, and if we look here on top, the building is very close to the edge, which means the picture is a bit zoomed in. Also, you can see that by the distance of John's head to the edge and the legs. I mean, you can identify that this cover is a bit zoomed in. And what do I mean by word misaligned apple? It's because of this. We can see the Beatles Apple logo here is not in the line with the text. It's been a little bit to the left. This one is called the misaligned apple. Okay, and we do not have Her Majesty on the cover. Mostly on all Abbey Road pressings we do not have Her Majesty credited. Let's look at the label. That's how the label looks like. We have the full apple here, the stereo indicator, the title of the album, the catalog number, the song listing with the writers and the Beatles on the bottom. But what's interesting that Abbey Road is the first album that doesn't have Sold in UK, because that Sold in UK feature was omitted from, I believe it was from summer 69, and this one was released in September 69. So we don't have already here this Sold in UK text. It's a bit dark, but if you look at the light, I don't think it's visible or not, but the matrices is -2, -1, and this is the side 2 label, and we do not have here Her Majesty credited. So this is the identifier that the matrices must be -2, -1, and the song Her Majesty should not be credited on the label as well. Which means you have the first pressing of this album. This is the pressing number 2, the same as the first one. I'm not gonna show you them, waste your time on this, because they are all the same. This is variation 2. First pressing, also variation 2. Now, as we can see here that the water drain is visible and the distance between the building and the edge is bigger than on the first pressing. So let's put two pressings side by side and compare. As we can see here, there is a difference between the buildings. The building on the second pressing is a little bit to the left and lowered a bit. But here on the first pressing, we see that the building is more to the right and upwards, which means that the first pressing actually is zoomed in and the second pressing is zoomed out. Okay, so let's go back to the second pressing. And if we look at the back here, the Apple logo is aligned with the text. Once again, let's compare the first and the second. And you can see here that the texts are the same text, but the logo is different. And also the first pressing is more greenish color and the second pressing is more colorful. That's what I was talking about in the beginning. All right, so these are the differences in the cover. Of course, the song Her Majesty does not appear on either of them. So now let's look at the label. This is the second pressing, variation A, and the only difference between the variations is that, first of all, these two do have the song Her Majesty credited on the label. So which means you have second pressing. Now how to identify which pressing is this, the variation A or variation B? You have to look at the matrices. You see here that the matrix number, I don't know if it's possible or not to see that. Yeah, I think it is. It's -1 and the side 1 is -2. So when we have the Abbey Road album with Her Majesty credited on the label and the matrices are -2, -1, which means you have second pressing variation A. This one is second pressing variation B, I would call it. Why? Because the matrix number is -4, -3, and same as the previous one, it also has Her Majesty credited on the label. So it's really easy to identify which Abbey Road pressing from United Kingdom you have. And this is the last British cover, also with an inlaid apple. But this one is a bit unique because it was an export. We have here a price sticker in dollars, $250, which means it was exported from United Kingdom to United States. Let's talk about the German pressing. This is German second press. Why? Because the catalog number starts with 1C. The first Abbey Road from Germany starts with the catalog number SMO. But I don't have it. I have only the second one, which starts with 1C. And the cover also is zoomed out because we do see the water drain here, and the building is a little bit downwards from the edge. All right. The back looks more bluish color, not as colorful as the second British. It's a more bluish, and the apple is allied with the text, and here on top we see the catalog number. Of course, no Her Majesty on the cover. Let's look at the label. Most important here, the label side 2. Sliced apple is a bit dark. We can see the in of the apple, but we don't have the Her Majesty credited. Here we have the catalog number, Gamma, the Right Society, the side indicator, not so much in the text on the label. And this is the side 1. Next one, Czechoslovakian pressing from 1971. Now this one is kind of unique. This one is very colorful and it has more kind of red tint to it. It's brighter and more colorful. Still, it's a second variation because we do see the water drain and the building. Flip it over, we see here that Apple is allied with the text. We don't have Her Majesty, and we do have here the logo of Supraphone and Capitol. Now here we have mono indicator, which is 013, and stereo indicator, which is 113. Let's look at the label. Now label is kind of unique. With the blue label, you can identify that this is the first Czechoslovakian pressing because the subsequent pressings do not have blue label. They might be orange or some other color. Now here we have Supraphone label logo. We have Parlophone logo here. This is the catalog number, which is 113, which is a stereo. This is a stereo indicator. And then we have here the song listing. We don't have the credits, who wrote what, but we do have here Her Majesty on the label. All right. And I know that the cover was printed actually in UK and it was exported to Czechoslovakia. And now let me show you something very unique. This is the rare Czechoslovakian booklet. I've already shown you that one previously in my videos, but I want to show it to you again. So here we go. I'm going to show you page by page. Beatles in 65. This is a Beatles in 67. This is John from the Get Back movie. This is Ringo from Get Back movie. This is also John from Let It Be recording. This is the beautiful John Lennon picture with doves. Here we have 1970 Harrison, and here we have Abbey Road, but the pictures are actually from Twickenham Studios. This is also Bearded McCartney. So here we have the text lyrics in English. So another picture of Bearded McCartney, and here we have the lyrics in English and in Czech. And here is also Let It Be session pictures, and I believe those pictures are taken from the Let It Be book that came with the record. And here we have 1968 White Album Paul McCartney. So the pictures are mixed here. Also here we have the Let It Be sessions, and here we have Ringo from 68, which is White Album, John Lennon from White Album, and George Harrison from White Album. Okay, so here we have Because, You Never Give Me Your Money, Sang King. Also, Let It Be sessions, Let It Be sessions, further Let It Be sessions. These are quite rare pictures, actually. Alright, so that's the booklet. Yeah, that's the booklet. It's very difficult, actually, to find this booklet with the Czechoslovakian pressing. Next one. German late 70s picture disc, which I'm not really a fan of picture discs because they sound awful, and I can already tell you that this one will be in lower part of my list. But let's examine. Heavy, thick record. Both sides look the same, only the difference is the side 2 here and side 1. And the matrices is -3 and side 1 has -4. So this one is -4, -3, like the second pressing variation B of United Kingdom. Now this one was pressed, I believe, in Germany, but I'm not sure. Let me check it out. And it doesn't say here anything. I think it may be also pressed in Holland. I'm not really sure, so if any of you knows any information about this one, where this one was released, I'll be happy to read your comments. The catalog number is 5CPO6204243. Limited edition. Japanese Mobile Fidelity Original Master Recording. Now this one is a very collectible and unique one. So let's look at the cover. The cover is zoomed in, is heavy thick cardboard. It's not laminated, and we don't see the top building here at all because it is under the yellow line here, and also we don't see the water drain, which means that picture is zoomed in. It's very colorful, very bright, and it has reddish color to it. We don't have here on the back the Apple logo at all. And also we don't have the Her Majesty credited on the cover. Now let's look at the record. We have here some formulas, some information to fill in. Mobile fidelity, audio file. It's a very unique one. And here we do have the white label. Beatles, Abbey Road, Mobile Fidelity, catalog number, capital logo, the credits and the song listing. And what's interesting here is that the song Her Majesty does appear on the label. Her Majesty, Lennon-McCartney. Now, how you identify that you have the original Japanese Mobile Fidelity? You have to look through it on the light. You have to look at the light through it, and you have to see that it's brown transparent vinyl. It's not black. And the disadvantage of it, I have to mention that it's kind of flimsy and not stable record. So these were the official pressings. Now we are looking at the bootlegs, and we have 2 Russian bootlegs. Well, one of them is Russian and one of them is from Kazakhstan. And this one is a very bad quality paper, dark and blurry, and the paper is like a newspaper, and yeah, it's a very bad quality. And what we do see here, that Paul McCartney is barefoot. Now this is important. This is also zoomed in cover, and on the back here And on the back here, we do have the Allied apple and nothing else that is special. Now, if we look at the label, we can see that it's a red label without any information, so it's absolutely a bootleg. Now, this pressing is from Kazakhstan. Now, the other pressing, a competitor to this one, is from Russia, from Anthrop label. And how do we identify that it's from Anthrop label? This is very unique. You have to see that Paul McCartney is actually wearing shoes and John Lennon is barefoot, and you can see that the drawing is awful. It's just awful. If you look at the back, it's a total copy of the original. Some text here is missing. The apple is allied with the text. Here we do have two logos, Anthrop and Santa. Now this one is the real Anthrop one. And this is the catalog number. All right? But the label is a bit interesting. Side 1 has this 1965 Beatles picture. And this one is on sliced apple, and it does have Her Majesty on the label. And the Kazakhstanian one does not have Her Majesty on the label. All right? Last but not least, the repress from 2019 50th anniversary mixed by Giles Martin. This is a beautiful pressing and a glossy, shiny cover, which is also a bit zoomed out. If we look at the back, it's a total copy of the original. Nothing special to mention here. And then we'll look in the, let's look at the vinyl. It's 180 grams thick vinyl with a dark logo of Apple. Is a bit different, but the layout of the label looks exactly the same. And here we also do not have Her Majesty listed on the label. All right. So these are the pressings that I have in my collection, and now we're gonna go to a normal mode and discuss the sound. So we're back in the normal mode, and let's talk about the sound. I have listened to all my 11 copies, and I rank them as I feel. And I have to say that among all my Beatles albums and all the press reviews that I did so far, these albums are pretty much solid. All of them are mostly 9, and only 2 of them 10, and only 1 of them 6. So it's pretty much solid. Not so many differences I found, because although I have listened to it in very loud volume with a full bass. So what can I say? First of all, I'm going to start with the UK pressings, which is the variation 1 with a misaligned apple and Her Majesty missing from the label. And all good as usual, UK pressings. I mean, I'm always impressed by them. And the basses are okay, the voice is coming from the right, music from the left, everything's fine. You can hear all the instruments. So I give it 10 out of 10. I mean, no doubt about it. The second UK pressing with the matrices minus 2, minus 1 is the same, and also -4, -3. I also didn't find many differences, although the -4, -3 album is a bit flimsier, thinner. That's the only difference that I can point out. The German one, I give it 9 out of 10 because it's as loud as the British one, but the basses are missing. You can feel that basses are being subdued. The basses are missing. I didn't like the bass as I like the basses on the UK. So it's been a bit lowered. So that's why I give it 9 out of 10. Czechoslovakian pressing also is not so loud, and that's why you hear the basses are present. So it's kind of mixture, is kind of opposite from the German one. I also give it 9 out of 10. I don't have any issues with that album. The picture disc is a disaster. I give it 6 out of 10. I don't want to even discuss it. I give it 6 out of 10, and I just don't like it. You know, you hear the noises, you hear the voice distortion, and it's not so loud. So I don't like picture discs. I give it 6 out of 10. Mobile fidelity. 9 out of 10. Also, I don't have any issues with that one. It's loud, the basses are okay, clean, but still I didn't like the you know, that it's not as loud as the British one. The Anthrop version with John Lennon when he's barefoot, surprisingly good. I give it 9 out of 10 because, once again, it's not as loud as the British one. You feel the bass, but the record is a bit thin, flimsy. So I give it 9 out of 10. I have no issues about it. The Kazakhstanian bootleg, with the red label, the record itself is a bit thicker, is a heavier record, but not as loud as the other Russian. I had to raise the volume. So the sound has been subdued. So I give it 8 out of 10. And the 2019 reissue, you can clearly hear the difference because the voices are up front and the instruments are a bit backwards. I didn't like that, you know. I'm regular to the old Abbey Road albums, the UK ones, and with this one I can clearly hear the difference. But once again, you cannot say that it's a bad one. So I give it 8 out of 10. So, like I said, this ranking is a bit, you know, equal. And I was really astonished that the Abbey Road albums are pretty much all the same sounding. Okay, so that was my ranking of Abbey Road album, and I think the next one comes Let It Be, and then I'm gonna go back to Magical Mystery Tour. And then, who knows? Thank you very much for watching. That was my press review video of Abbey Road album, and see you in my next video. Bye bye.